Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala khairul mursaleen. Muhammadin Nabi al-Ummi. Wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. يقول الله تعالى في القرآن الكريم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is indeed not only a wonderful day, but it's a wonderful period. Okay, it may not seem like it, but let me try to explain a period that we're in right now. We're in a period where we have rested, watched, forecast, predicted, and went through all types of things. And they've all come out about like, if anybody can remember some of the stuff we wrote, let's say around 10 years ago, about where the world was headed at that time. That was the time of, in fact, it's right at this time, except that was 11 years ago, when they was having Tahrir Square and all of that was going on. And they had something over there the exact day as February 11th, which was the day of the revolution. I don't know if anybody remember that. But all that stuff was going on, and they was trying to build that as this is a rehash of that, and this is where we headed. And then we basically put messages out. Number one, messages was about dealing with boss man here. And we said to the Kwanis around here that you're moving forward, but time is moving at 100 miles an hour and you're advancing at 40 miles an hour. So you're moving forward, but you're behind the curve. Does anybody remember those stuff? Okay, so everything that I'm going to talk about today, we have basically talked about on a repetitive basis. And just to get an old feeling, what is this? About 2009. Psychological guerrilla warfare. Now, a lot of people don't pay no attention to that, but that's deep. That's deep because we have already done that. Everything that we're going to talk about today, we have already done, and we're stepping into another, not arena, it's the same arena, but on a higher level. And people might say, well, what are you talking about? Moving ahead. Why, you're a handful of people here. What are you talking about? And everybody else got a house full of people, right? You can't go nowhere where the people can't hardly get inside. Fundraiser for Imam Jamil Alameen, that's 2008. There's some key stuff in this right here. Islamic Institute for Counter-Zionist American Psychological Warfare. I'll read a little bit of it. During the period of global evolution, we are reaching out to all people of goodwill who wish to participate in the effort of global redesign. Toward achieving this ultimate vision, we are working diligently to reform even those who have worked and cooperated with Zionist American organizations as saboteurs, agent provocateurs, infiltrators, and traitors. This includes misguided believers who have even snitched on their own brothers and sisters. I think I wanted to read the one on top of that. Together, we must develop a plan of action and work with missionary zeal to bring about and play a role in the earth liberation movement. Earth Liberation Movement, which aims to free the earth from the parasitical behavior of man, establish a non-predatory system of interconnected global harmony, nurture and further a culture of earth first, custodianship, that's another word for caliphate, understand and respect the rights of the earth, which should be treated as a living organism, which it is, and envision and actualize a global redesign for the 21st century. Okay, those are all things. There's maybe just one or four things, a few more things. Some of the things we wanted to do: become archivists. This is not what we want to become. We had already done this. This is on 9/4/2015. So we had already done that. A lot of the stuff that we'll be reading, we've already done it. But archivists, that means, you notice sometimes we come up with a paper like this. This is maybe it's a copy out of something. And archivist, documentalist, chronicler, historian. And we did that because we wanted to be educators and trainers. In order to do what we wanted to do or want to do, you have to have willpower, strong-mindedness, fortitude, self-control, self-command, self-mastery, self-government. Tenacious, that means the ability to hold on. The Hadith said to hold on with your hind teeth. That's holding on there. Self-denial, constancy, powerfulness, persistence, endurance, duro, and, to last a long time, permanence, resistance. We talk here about Kandak, Suraka, Hadramount, people on a boat. And Resistance Award for 2014. That's what we were saying we deserved at that time. The Resistance Award, for 2014. This is just a cover page from 1980. This would be probably about 82, 83. Strategic Thinking. It's a set of tapes by a company, Ben Trigo and them guys. And we always use the word strategic management and all of that. And even back in Jahiliyyah, we always had this type of stuff, strategic, thinking about a big whole picture, a long range, and not dealing with just today's or next week or maybe even next month, which most people, that's the way they do. Some think way ahead, like even to their next paycheck. Boy, when I get my next paycheck, I'm going to be rolling. And they've thought about where to spend the little money, not where to save it or anything. But I just wanted to mention some of those things. And some of the talks, this is a Black History Month program, but it's got a little change in it, a little... One of our goals here is to liberate first North America from Zionist control. We as a As-Sabiqun movement or movement forces pull the Zionist pants down and give him a public butt whipping. Or we whip the Zionist upside the head and whip his behind. We just whoops his behind. I know this is good English. It sounds like it. All the verbs and adjectives are in the proper place, You could see that. So we whoops that, I'm sure you know what that means. I guess that means we're doing it. We whoops his, or we could have been doing, or we might do it, but whatever, we whoops his behind. That means that we could have done it last week. We whoops his behind. It could be the future, like we whoops them boys. We whoop them, you know. Uh, it just means that now it don't sound like much just to sit here and talk about it, but when you look at everybody else, nobody even thinks about talking to the Zionists like that. And we know the hadith on some of our flyers where Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam put a mimbar in the masjid for Hassan ibn Thabit, and he told him to satirize the enemy. I know we've talked about this a lot, but maybe it's been about 9 or 10 years ago. Satirize the enemy. You know, break their spirit. You know what I mean? Like you can talk, what is it, loud tools? Break the enemy's will to fight without fighting. Right. And if you got a big old giant like we got to fight here in America, you can't describe his characteristics and attributes. That'll make people run faster away from him, right? Instead of running to get him, you tell them the boss man got 67 aircraft carriers and they got this, that, and another. Shoot. And he got 700,000 snitches in and around Washington, D.C. That'd be about everybody, because it ain't but 700,000 people here. So it would be, all right, so you wouldn't describe him like that. So if you got to go to war, you have to describe your enemy like Dawood looked at him. Everybody else said, man, this Goliath is strapped down from head to toe, and he too big to hit. When you read the Bible, that's what you get an idea. Goliath is too big to hit. But that wasn't Dawood's position. When he looked at him, he said, man, this guy's too big to miss. Right? That was his attitude. His attitude made the whole day. Everybody else looked at him and said, no, man, this guy is too big to hit. That was Saul. Everybody felt that's true. He said, man, this guy is too big to miss. And what he gonna use? The thing, he been running lions in those days, those lions and stuff up in the Middle East. And he run them off with a slingshot. You know, what he had at hand. Well, what that means is people, when they're in a struggle, the highest level of sophistication is to properly use what God give you to defeat your enemy. To use it properly, to use it strategically. That means strategic has the idea of whatever you have, you're going to use it at the right place, at the right time, and you will have thought about it. You're going to use it in the right manner. Now, anybody that look at us here or look at what they've been doing to black people, right? One guy sent a message, say from up in New York, maybe a couple of weeks ago. Used to be overseas with me, right? I don't know if did you tell me that somebody sent me a message? Yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, okay. He tuned in and mentioned it. Okay. That's one person. And another guy 10, 12 years ago sent a message from overseas. That means out of the movement, out of the rebellion of the 60s, right? And all that time, that means that only 2 people then decided to maybe just a little contact. That means everybody else is dead, tired, or worn out, or is sitting up in the crazy house, right? That's actually what it means. And if you go and physically visit and see somebody, you get the idea and you go and you present modern times and they got something to do, you just say, well, very good. This is something I just brought. It ain't like the old days, but it's a little. And you go on about your business, and then you hear from them years later, like, how you doing? That stuff. That means you have had to analyze where you are, who's with you, right? Where you're trying to go. Where you trying to go at this time? And that's what we're going to talk about today. It was to be Black History, but we're going to go through. I hope y'all are a little patient because we're going to go this way, then we're going to go that way, then we're going to try to wrap it up. So this is Black History Month.